Hi, I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
And welcome to episode 28 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover episode 28 of City Hunter, titled The Legend of Umibozu, Pure-Hearted Mysterious Benefactor, Part 2.
It's a part 2, yay!
Yay!
What was happening last time, Josh?
Well, since you brought it up, there is a woman who is in town, who is a violinist, who has been looked after by a mysterious benefactor. That mysterious benefactor is Umibozu. Umibozu is shy, so he hires Ryo to pretend to be him. That doesn't exactly work out because somebody from Umibozu's past is trying to kill the violinist.
And maybe him too in the process.
And so now, in the process of trying to hide his identity, Umibozu might have just outed himself as the benefactor, and that's where we pick up our story.
Okay, so he hasn't exactly outed himself, but he was really close. And now Lady Ma'am is like, well, now we're all in the same room together, and this is weird, and this is awkward. Also, everybody's mad at each other, because I guess apparently all of the traps that Umibozu had left in the apartment last time, that
Ryo's apartment.
At Ryo's apartment, that he so deftly dodged, I don't know, maybe he got hit by some of them. We know he got hit by some of them.
Yeah, because he's got battle damage by the time he gets to the last room.
Well, so does the apartment, apparently. So Kaori can't stay in the apartment anymore either, because the combination of Umibozu and Ryo trying to dodge Umibozu's traps destroyed the apartment.
So I imagine Ryo's got some kind of insurance policy on the apartment, given how it's pretty often, not every episode, but often enough in the series, his apartment gets bombed or shot at or blown up or set on fire, that he must have some kind of insurance policy in place to get it repaired.
That and the car.
And the car too. It must be a combination thing.
He could have it all under a package deal. He really could.
Like, he reached out to Flo from Progressive for the City Hunter only deal that covers little Mini Coopers that really should be replaced and whole ass apartment buildings from utter destruction.
Renter's insurance.
Yeah, but this is some other kind of renter's insurance.
He might own the building, though. We've discussed that before. He might own that building.
So, like, I don't want to get stuck on it, but it's one of those things I wonder about. Like, is it that City Hunter really is just not getting a lot of work all the time and that's why they're struggling to get jobs? Or is it that they have just such a high insurance premium from all the times the Mini Cooper or the apartment has been totally wrecked?
Well, the premium means that they would be paying a lot of money because it gets wrecked all the time.
Right.
So, yeah, they would be out of money. They're not getting payouts from accidental damage.
No, because some of that is their fault.
This was definitely his fault.
Does Umibozu count as an act of God? That is what I'm asking right now.
Only if you're talking about the Umibozu of Japanese legend, which I wanted to bring this up a little bit later on anyway, because we find out that Umibozu's just got a million names, okay? And the name...
He's got like 4.
The name Umibozu is a nickname that Ryo gave him, and I don't remember whether or not we discussed this.
I mean, it'll come up later in the episode.
Yeah, but Umibozu is a word for a Japanese yokai, like a Japanese traditional old-school monster ghost thing.
Demon beast kind of thing.
Demon beast sort of thing. It lives out in the middle of the ocean. It's enormous, and it's bald, and it makes ships sink in the ocean.
So you apply that to this guy here going by Falcon, who Ryo names Umibozu, it kind of makes sense that he's this big, bald guy that can wreck stuff.
Anyway, if he's this traditional Japanese yokai, it might be an act of God.
Ryo would forge the paperwork or fudge the paperwork to say, yeah, it was an act of God, you know, if you look at it from a certain kanji.
Okay.
But in any case, yes, everybody has made their way back to Maki's apartment since Ryo's is out of action. Everybody's pissed. Nobody's happy to be there because this is not exactly going well. You're protecting Maki, but only so well. Maki goes to check up on Umibozu like, hey, are you all right? How are your shoulders? I know there was blood. Yeah. He gets flustered, like, no, I'm fine. Don't check on me. Like, isn't that just the way he can't show any he can't show any weakness?
He's real rude about it, but I mostly think it's because he's so nervous he doesn't know how to respond.
And the thing about it is, like we kind of discussed, and it'll come up way more today, he's got so much anxiety going. Like, you would think it'd be like PTSD, but he's handling that pretty well.
No, this is just a guy that's really acclimated to war-type scenarios, and he doesn't know what normal, calm life is, and so very normal things freak him out.
Well, I guess in that sense, it is its own kind of PTSD, that he's more used to being in a trauma-heavy situation, and that's become the norm for him. Yeah, that's entirely one way of looking at it.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, later on that night, after everything's calmed down, Maki's there staring out the window up at the night sky, the full moon up in the sky. Ryo's talking to her a bit, and she mentions that something about Umibozu's aura, it seems familiar to her, so she's starting to get hints of who Umibozu really is. But then she also remarks that Ryo's aura is also different from everybody else. There's something different about him.
But not too dissimilar from Umibozu. They carry some sort of similar aura between the two of them.
Now, this is important because as they're having this conversation, Kaori and Umibozu are watching from the other side of the wall.
Or at least listening in.
Yeah, to make sure that Ryo doesn't do anything pervy, which you figure that's a normal thing to do.
Right. So Kaori asks, what, he wasn't a mercenary, was he? And Umibozu's just like, who knows? Bye. And does not fill her in on the rest of the information. So the answer, however, is yes.
Yeah, so that's something that we're now getting the first hints of Ryo's past before City Hunter, is that he was in fact a mercenary. As we learn later on, he was a child mercenary.
Yeah, but that is not information that we're gonna get in this episode. We just get this little hint of, oh, he did some stuff.
Yeah, he's got a past,
yeah,
for sure. Now, to be fair, Ryo did not blatantly hit on Maki right there at the beginning, but Kaori and Umibozu are not taking any chances, so that night they're all sleeping on the floor there. Well, Kaori takes the couch, but they've all got like 2 handcuffs on either arm of Ryo.
Yeah.
Like, your ass ain't going nowhere tonight. You're staying right here with us.
And I mean, fair. He earned that.
Yeah, well,
his reputation already to this point in
the
time
reputation alone. Admittedly,
has earned it.
He hasn't been as bad with Maki.
Well, that's because he's always had a gun traced on him the entire time.
Trained on him, fair. Now, the next morning, Umibozu's going on his rounds of the apartment to make sure everything's in order. Before he goes to check on Maki, we see that he walks by the door, and he's like, his head is cut off from the frame of the door. He's so big.
He's so tall. This guy's like 7 foot. I don't know. He's enormous.
He's 6 foot something. Easily clearing 6 feet.
I really think he could hit 7 feet. I don't know.
But yes, Umibozu goes to check in on Maki's room and sees her violin there on the nightstand and picks it up kind of nostalgically, remembering some things.
He kind of hugs it a little.
Yeah, like it's a memento to him too, as we'll cover here in just a second.
But Maki walks in and sees him holding it, and he gets all nervous, like, uh-oh, busted.
Like,
and
super red-faced.
The way he puts it back down, really slowly and gingerly and dainty and just gently, real gently sets it back down.
Like a child who was caught playing with their mom's jewelry, and it's like, oh no, I'm putting it back,
You know that video that I have shown you from time to time of this person who's walked up on their cat, who has opened the bottom drawer of a dresser and is digging through all the clothes, and then they make like one little bitty noise, and the cat turns around and sees that they're being filmed, and they pull their ears back, and they really gently take their paw and slowly push the dresser door closed. Uh-oh, busted. Nope, I'm done. It's all right.
I'm just I was in the middle of putting this back when you walked up. Now, the reason, of course, that Umibozu is experiencing these feelings, feels really embarrassed about hugging this violin case, is that, yes, the violin within the case belonged to Maki's father, which, as we were told last episode, was Umibozu's commanding officer, whom he had a lot of respect and affection for. Mm-hmm. Now, as she's commenting on this, Maki asks Umibozu blatantly, why was I targeted? Why is this happening to me? Which, realistically, I would be asking that question too. Why am I being shot at? And again, Umibozu is already flustered, having been caught red-handed with the violin.
Right.
So he's just got to come up with something off the top of his head, and the first thing he comes up with is, there's a woman that Ryo deceived, and she's out for revenge against him.
He's just saying bullshit.
Yeah.
He's so nervous, I don't think he even knows what he's saying.
And then Ryo, who happened to be eavesdropping in this case, hears his explanation. It's like, what the hell, man? That's the best you could come up with? That doesn't even make sense.
And I think Umibozu knows that.
Yeah, and Umibozu says, just kidding. like really weirdly.
Like he is pretending that he knows what it's like to be a human being that knows what joking is. It's really not somebody who does joking often, and so you can tell. I don't know what this guy just thought he was trying to do, but alright. But she buys it, or at the very least, she's like, well, you were just trying to make me feel better. You were just trying to make sure that I wasn't scared, so yeah, you were just being weird. Okay,
and
cool, that's funny.
Umibozu has to get Ryo back in. Like, we both have to get back on track here. We have roles to play, and Umibozu's telling him, like, really forcibly, like, almost, I don't think he physically does it, but at least verbally, he's, like, nudging him with his elbow, like, hey, this violin case makes you really nostalgic for her dad, doesn't it? And Ryo's like, you know it does. I remember he used to play for me. Yeah, that's what happened. So as they're talking about this nostalgia, Maki informs them, well, yeah, my father wanted me to carry on the violin. I have a performance this Sunday. Before we do this, can I play for you?
Yeah, so let's play it right now. And so she does, and everybody's sitting on the couch, and they're having a good time, and she's playing the violin, and it's really pretty.
And as she's playing this song, I don't think we're ever told what the name of the composition is. You see Umibozu having this flashback of her dad on the battlefield, a bunch of soldiers around him, and he starts, we get one little tear coming out the side of his face.
One weepy strong man tear, and she catches it, and Umibozu realizes, oh crap, I'm busted, but I gotta look hard, and it's gotta be Ryo who looks like he's the one tearing up. So he flicks like a marble or a ball bearing or potentially a pachinko ball.
No, it was a 500 yen coin.
Okay, it was a 500 yen coin. Into his dick?
Right in the nuts.
Right in the nuts. And of course, that's gonna make Ryo start crying. But Umibozu takes the opportunity, like, see, look at the poor puny man, and he's crying because of the violin. Huh, what a loser. I'm leaving, bye.
Like, for what it's worth, that was a good call on Umibozu's part to get him to cry as fast as he could. Because, yeah, if you're hit in the nuts, more than likely you're either going to gasp or you're going to cry. You're going to show some kind of distress or pain. It's lucky for Ryo that the way it came out was... which you can play off as, oh, I'm so moved.
Yeah, but it still is, like, way too big and over the top.
Yeah, and thankfully Maki, she's got so much goodwill. She just buys it.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, this brief, nice reprieve is interrupted when there's a phone call that Kaori picks up, but then Umibozu takes the call, and it's Snake, the guy who's actually hunting for both him and Maki.
Right.
And he doesn't say a lot. He's just there taunting, like, ha, now I'm watching you do all the things in the park yesterday. Now I'm gonna watch you watch her die, and then you're gonna die. It's gonna happen Sunday.
Well, that's a legitimate threat. That's not him doing nothing. That's him legitimately threatening the both of them.
Yeah, this is true. But for somebody who we were told he was a mercenary as well, I guess he didn't learn how to be very tactful. He decides to go ahead and call and say, hey, I'm gonna murder her on Sunday. All right, bye.
He could have just done it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna go all in and make the phone call, be theatrical. Otherwise, shut the hell up and do your thing.
I think it doesn't matter whether it was theatrical or not, just that he gets his kicks knowing that the both of them know it's coming.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's all that matters.
That's probably all that matters to him. You're probably right. And so we were given no prep time in between the call, because she says, it's coming this Sunday, my concert. We flash forward straight to the day of the concert. And so we're there at the hall, this plaza that the performance is taking place at. And outside in the lobby, we see that there are several floral arrangements, wishing her good luck, break a leg on her performance today. Ryo has brought one, and it's a pretty decent floral arrangement, but it's easily outclassed by this gigantic, like, quinceañera-sized homecoming floral display.
Oh, it's bigger than that.
Like, this thing is huge.
Yeah, it's taller than two people.
Just giant-ass floral arrangement for Maki.
This is more like something that appears in the Tournament of Roses parade in Pasadena on New Year's every year.
Oh, those big-ass things, yeah.
That's how big this thing is.
Yeah, and it's not from Ryo. It's not from anybody that he knows technically, but there is a name plaque on the display that says who it's from, and it's from a Mr. Hayato Ijuin.
Which, good job, Umibozu.
You used your real name.
Used your real name, which would not have been so bad. I mean, Ryo's gotta be the one to break it to everybody. Oh, I know exactly who this is. That's just Umibozu's real name, which, mind you, now we know of 3 names that this man goes by.
Yeah, so...
Friggin' pick one, man.
So, to clarify, his birth name, Hayato Ijuin, his nickname that he goes by most of the time that Ryo gave him, Umibozu, and then the code name that he's using, or has used up until now to communicate with Maki, Falcon.
So he's using his real name, Hayato, uses the kanji Haya like Hayabusa, and Hayabusa is a peregrine falcon.
And Maki picks up on this, that kanji could easily be translated into falcon, puts 2 and 2 together and realizes, oh, Hayato Ijuin is Falcon. You just told me Hayato Ijuin is Umibozu, therefore Umibozu is Falcon.
Good job, man. Good job. You blew it. You absolutely blew it.
I can't believe you've done this.
Also, like, what an idiot to, like, what would be a really stupid nickname for me? Like, take for example, I do not shorten my name, Kalen. I just go by Kalen all the time.
Right.
Nobody calls me K. And then suddenly I go running around under a pseudonym of, my name is K. You'll never know who I am. And then somebody puts 2 and 2 together. Oh, K is Kalen. What the... That's so stupid.
It more reminds me of this Simpsons joke from, it was one of the earlier seasons where Lisa has done something, and so Principal Skinner has called an assembly of the entire school, and he starts out by saying, a certain student has brought something to our attention. We'll say it was Lisa S. No, wait a minute. That might reveal who that is. Let's say it was L. Simpson. And then, Lisa's just there face palming in the audience because clearly that you just told everybody who it was.
Right.
Like, why would you do that?
Well, what I am saying is that Umibozu himself is an idiot because he used a word that is directly associated with his real name.
And you don't do that. First rule of the internet, don't use your real name, which I can't say I don't do because I sign on as Josh.
If you're trying to do things in secret, you don't use your real name.
You don't do that.
And you don't use something that sounds like your real name either.
Yeah, don't use it on a burner account.
Yeah.
Yeah, never use that on a burner.
That's what I'm telling you.
Use something completely different. So now she's really nervous, knowing the truth about everything. She goes to her dressing room, but Ryo and Umibozu tell her, look, everything's going to be fine. You don't need to worry about anything. We're on top of this. Go out there, break a leg, have a great show. And she does. She goes out on stage, to great applause and performs beautifully. And in the middle of the performance, we notice up by the spotlights, there's a sniper rifle up there.
Uh-huh.
And it ain't Ryo, it's Snake.
And he's like, haha, I got her now, and now Umibozu's gonna cry when he sees her die. Except he's the one crying instead, because Umibozu is flicking like pachinko balls at him from
with
across
a slingshot.
With a slingshot. Hitting him in the face, and runs him out of the balconies, out onto the roof.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm doing this on purpose, using a slingshot to make sure that there's no blood that will sully this performance for her.
Mm-hmm.
So they get up onto the roof, and Snake isn't doing a very good job of hiding himself. Umibozu's got his Smith & Wesson drawn. I think he's using a 44 mag, if I'm not mistaken. And he's like, all right, come on out. I can see you back there. And he's like, oh, I guess you got me. You better come get me. And Umibozu foolishly moves forward, not realizing there's a tripwire waiting for him halfway across the roof, which he activates. And from above him on a little scaffolding, a box opens and its contents dump out all over Umibozu and completely incapacitates him. The thing about it is, the contents of that box were these incredibly cute kittens?
It's kittens. But I felt really bad because he's placed these kittens way up high, and then he dumps these kittens out, and they fall really far, and I'm like, oh no, the kittens!
But I can't impress to you guys enough how cute these kittens look.
Yeah, and they love Umibozu. Oh, they are all over him. They just know, this guy is our guy. Cats know. Cats know when they're with somebody that is good and nice, even though Umibozu, as you just said, is totally incapacitated by them because he's terrified. He's just frozen stiff like a statue because he's so scared of cats. Which may be why these kittens really, really like him because he's not gonna hurt them because he can't move.
So yeah, it turns out that Umibozu has ailurophobia, which is the fear of cats. He is absolutely incapacitated when he's around cats. It's not like he's, allergic to them. He's just afraid of them.
Definitely afraid of them.
And he's like, damn, how did you know my weakness? And Snake's like, yeah, I've known about your weakness for a long time.
Because I've known you for a long time.
And that's how this works. So now that I've got you incapacitated by these cute cats, I'm gonna shoot your arms, I'm gonna shoot your legs, I'm gonna shoot your little girlfriend performing with the violin, and then I'm gonna come back here, watch you cry, and then shoot you. Ha!
But that doesn't happen because Ryo is there. And then Ryo shoots.
And he shoots the gun out of Snake's hand, and Umibozu's there panicking, but still asking, Ryo, why the hell did it take you so long to get here?
Well, because you were covered in cats, man, and it was friggin' hilarious because you're just frozen stiff. And he's just cackling. He's hit the ground and banging on the ground like, oh my god, Umibozu, man, this is golden. I heard you were scared of cats, and I didn't know it was this bad.
Yeah,
oh my
I didn't
god.
know it was like this. Like, I wish I had a video camera so I could get footage of this. It's amazing. I love it. And while he's there ribbing Umibozu, Ryo's ribbing Umibozu about the cat thing, Snake goes for the gun again, because it only got shot out of his hand. It's just barely out of arm's reach.
I'm so glad these cats are okay, by the way, because they are around guns, and bullets are going off. And thankfully, we don't see any cats get hit by a bullet.
No animals were harmed in the filming of this episode, which was animated. And I don't want to miss that as Ryo showed up and he's shooting the gun a second time to make sure that Snake can't use it, destroying his gun. We got footsteps playing again. And again, that's the thing. Whenever something's going down, whenever Ryo's doing something cool, you gotta have footsteps. And so when he shoots the gun and destroys it, not only does he do that, he gives Snake a buzz cut down the middle.
Right, just to show off. Yeah, I could have shot you in the head, man, but I didn't. I deliberately didn't.
So he tells him, look, we're not gonna kill you. We're telling you to get the hell out of here, and next time, we're not gonna be so nice. And Snake's like, well, who the hell are you? Why are you helping Umibozu? He's like, hey, next time you try to come back into town, you remember the name City Hunter. And that just flips a switch in Snake, like, oh my god, you're him? You're City Hunter? And as this is happening, we get this little moment here where Ryo, he's got his gun trained on Snake, but he's looking over at Umibozu.
Who is just on the floor, just passed the fuck out, with kittens all over him. Kittens love Umibozu.
They love him! But it's funny, this whole thing, and Ryo realizes it's funny, and we as the audience know it's funny, because in this moment, we have this moment of the comedy crow flying overhead, denoting, okay, somebody said something funny here, and it's a great frame to have of the three characters there in that setup. And I don't want to miss that it did happen earlier when Ryo was talking about the nickname with Umibozu.
Right.
And when he explains just deadpan, oh, Hayato Ijuin, that's Umibozu. Coyote's talking about that with him, and as she's realizing it, the comedy crow falls, hits Coyote on the head, and falls off.
And mind you, the crow's not even a real thing. It's just a sight gag.
It's a sight gag. It's punctuation to a joke. It goes with the punchline. But the fact that it's usually just dots across the screen with the ellipses behind it, but just this one time, it broke out of that background and hit Coyote on the head on the way down.
Yeah.
Which is great. And they used it a lot this episode. I think it gets used like 2 more times.
Well, they're dragonflies the other times.
Oh, no, you're right.
At least one of the other times was a dragonfly instead of a crow. But mind you, anytime they use either a dragonfly or a crow, it's literally the same purpose.
Right.
I don't know why they interchange between the two of them. I don't know if there's a reason or a point. They both seem to accomplish the same thing. That some weird, awkward thing has happened, and it's supposed to be funny, and here comes a cute background crow and or dragonfly. Usually not both.
No, it's only one or the other. But now that they've wrapped this up, the performance is over, everything's great, raucous applause for Maki. She comes backstage and they let her know, hey, everything's good, the guy didn't show up, it must have just been a prank. So they tell Maki it was a prank, and she's like, wait, this was a prank, but didn't we watch Umibozu get shot?
Oh no, it was airsoft, he's fine. That was airsoft? The bullets coming out of his back covered in blood were airsoft?
I mean, if you do it close enough proximity, you can bleed from an airsoft thing.
Bullets, Josh!
But yeah, you can tell the difference between bullets and airsoft, usually. But yeah, Maki accepts the answer. They tell her, yeah, you did a good performance, just terrible that we couldn't see it. Real sorry about that.
She offers, well, why don't you come to my apartment and I'll perform for all of you? And Ryo's like, nah, Umibozu wouldn't want to go, but I'll go. Yeah! Umibozu doesn't like the sound of that, so he's like, oh no you don't.
I'm coming too.
Ryo feigns that, oh, I hate this. I wanted alone time with Maki. They're outside arguing about it. With the comedy of the argument, this visual comedy of it, where Ryo is all the way up on Umibozu's chest, like he's having to prop himself up onto Umibozu with his feet, and he's yanking at him, and Umibozu...
Yanking on his collar, yeah.
Yanking on his collar, but Umibozu's not moving at all. Ryo is just flinging himself everywhere, and it's doing absolutely nothing to Umibozu.
Umibozu is the immovable object.
But the truth of the matter is, Ryo is just some sly dog. He's pretending that what he cares about is seeing Maki by himself and having alone time with her, but what he has really done was made Umibozu really curious and wanting to go check on her to see if she is okay and protected from Ryo being a dick. So he ends up showing up at her apartment and Ryo does not.
Yeah, Ryo leaves the plaza with Kaori, and Kaori's asking, like, are you sure this is gonna work? Is that snake guy out of the picture? Is he good? And Ryo's like, oh yeah, we took care of him. We sent him a little care package. And we see that what has happened is Umibozu and Ryo have bought him a ticket to get
on Sunrise Airlines.
On Sunrise Air. They can't resist. Every time there's an opportunity to get on a plane, it's got to be Sunrise Air. And they've left a little note on City Hunter stationery, which unfortunately for the discs we were using, there was no translation for the note.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually there in the streaming versions. That's a really unfortunate oversight that there's no subtitles to translate the note. But that's okay, we already figured it out. So, the note says something approximately to the effect of, get out of here.
Yeah, disappear quick.
We're giving you a one-way or an express ticket to hell.
Yeah, your next stop is hell. Here's your express ticket. Signed, Umibozu and City Hunter. So they told him, get the hell out, and he's like,
oh yeah, I'm gone, man. I'm not gonna mess with both.
Yes, I'm out.
I'm not gonna mess with both Umibozu and City Hunter. I thought I could handle one of them, but not both of them together. Bye.
I'm out. And that's it. He runs with his tail between his legs. So there is no more threat. And so Umibozu is camped out there outside of Maki's all night for nothing because Ryo didn't actually show up. He wakes up the next morning and realizes, oh, I guess he didn't show up. Or I don't even think he slept. I think he was just out there all night waiting for him to show, and then it's like, he's not here. I'm gonna go inside. And he goes in there and he goes up to Maki's door and asks, hey, is Saiba here? And she's like, oh, he's not coming today, but I would like to talk to you, Mr. Ijuin. And he's like, what? Who told you? Like, he's totally taken aback that she now knows his identity.
Yeah, Ryo kind of told me that was your name, and then I figured out that your name was Umibozu, and then I figured out that Umibozu, you're Falcon, and he's like, oh, crap.
And she's like, look, I want to know why all this has happened, why you've been so nice to me, what you know about my dad, all of these things. I realize there's a good chance you're not going to tell me, and if that's the case, if you're not going to tell me, that's fine. All I ask is that you listen to me play.
And he's like, all right, fine, do it. And sits down pretending that he really hates it. He really doesn't.
No, he loves it.
He's just trying to be tough.
He's a real softie.
Yeah.
And after listening to her for a bit, he tells her, your dad wanted this for you. He wanted you to become a violinist.
And actually, during the performance, while she's playing for him, she's thinking about, oh, I've got this trip. I'm going to Vienna. I'm going to go study violin. I don't think Umibozu gets told this.
No, I don't think he does.
Although he eventually figures it out because he's there watching her
airport.
At the airport later. But while she's playing, she's realizing, I need to do this now. I'm going to Vienna. I'm going to be a great violinist. And that's when Umibozu's like, yeah, your dad really wanted you to become this great violinist. I'm glad to see that it's happening, blah, blah, blah.
I'll tell you everything about your dad when you're older, but not right now.
Maybe not older, but more mature.
Yes,
like you've really become a full adult.
Then I'll tell you what's going on. But right now, just play for me and we'll leave it at that.
And she's like, okay. And then the performance is over. And then it's immediately pop over to the airport.
Well, before that, Ryo and Kaori are at their apartment, and Umibozu settled the tab for having them help out.
That's right.
But unfortunately, it wasn't cash. It was crates and crates of Wild Hawk. The alcohol that Umibozu was drinking at the beginning of last episode, it's just crates and crates of the stuff.
They really could sell it. They could sell it.
I mean, are they gonna sell it, or is Ryo just gonna drink it all?
Well, he drank at least one bottle.
Well, yeah, because it's like, this is what we got instead of payment, so damn it, I'm drinking it. And next time Umibozu asks me for a favor, I'm gonna send him this giant good luck cat.
Oh, yeah, because for some reason he sent that too. He sent a giant Maneki Neko, a lucky cat. You see him in restaurants all the time, and they're usually calico cats. They got the one arm up.
You know, the money cat.
Yeah, the lucky money cat. Yeah, so they're supposed to bring good luck. There's various legends and stories about how that thing works. But along with the crates of alcohol, it also included an enormous lucky cat statue for whatever reason.
Well, see, I took it as we're being told after the fact that not only were the crates of Wild Hawk dropped off, but that before this scene, Ryo went out and got the Maneki Neko as the next prank he was going to do to Umibozu.
Oh, is that what that was?
That was my read.
Okay. It was just such a strange ending.
I think that makes a little more sense because I don't see a situation where Umibozu would go out of his way to get a cat. Like, if he had to order it by mail and he didn't actually have to interact with it, maybe. But he doesn't seem like the kind of guy to go out of his way to do anything with cats.
I guess. I feel like it might have been an idea of getting him back for the cats, for laughing at him for the cats. I don't know.
No, it's possible.
I really don't know. That part of it I did not understand. I was like, why is that there?
But yes, then we're shown the airport. We see Maki taking off not on Sunrise Airlines, but on Sunrise
Airlines.
The E is missing in airlines on the side of the plane. And this week, it's Umibozu who gets the freeze frame, the pan out, as Get Wild starts playing.
And he's looking real cool. He's got his button-down overshirt hanging over his shoulder. He's looking over his shoulder as the plane's going off in the distance. He just looks like a cold badass.
Stone cold badass. And that's it. That's the episode. So that's our first two-parter here in City Hunter Season 1.
Yeah.
And so it's a nice story. It's a lot of background for Umibozu as a character. All the explanations for why his name is what it is. Starting to tease the past of Ryo and what exactly went on to make him the person we know today.
And it was great. And also there were kittens. And
cute, adorable kittens.
And Umibozu should just calm the hell down. These kittens just want to love him.
I mean, that's the kind of thing you imagine like you need immersion therapy for a little bit. Like, start with one kitten, maybe. But even then, he has a problem with just one kitten later on in the show.
Yeah, eventually that becomes like a thing. I think it's in an OVA, actually.
I think it's in at least two of them where Ryo needs to slow down Umibozu so he had a cat ready.
Yeah, I think that's it. The fear of the cats comes up in that Takarazuka play.
Yes.
It's really funny.
Unfortunately, it's not something that made it into the French live action.
No, it's not. That's too bad.
But then again, Umibozu had a much smaller role there.
By comparison, yeah. They managed to fit a lot into that 2 hours. And, I mean, I guess when you've got a bunch of flying ducklings, you have to take out cats.
Yeah.
I guess that's the trade-off.
We had to trade out animals.
Yeah. Are ducklings more French than cats?
I don't... Like, the French have cats, too.
I know. I'm trying to figure out what the decision there was.
There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it.
Anyway, we're starting to talk about things other than what this episode was, and we're done with the episode.
Yeah, so next time on City Hunter, we're going to be dealing with a little girl trying to help out her favorite artist.
And wants to hire City Hunter, but really can't afford the job.
Because they're a child. So get a job, kid. I'm kidding.
But no, really. So, come back next time when we cover the 29th episode of the TV series, A 500 Yen Job, a cute little girl wins Ryo's heart.
If you want to catch us both outside this podcast, you can always find us over on Twitter. I'm at JoshKnightTheFirst.
And I'm at MarzGurl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 28th episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, I'm only gonna pay Josh $5.
$5? You don't pay me at all.